What's up, good people? It is Wednesday. It is hump day. And boy, do we have a show for you. Thank you. You are far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad that you are here with me. It is the DLLS Cowboys podcast, and we got a show for you today. George Pickens said he's a chill guy. At least they say he's a chill guy. We got We have Mr. Throw Me the Damn Ball, Keyshawn Johnson calling in our third segment. And did the Tush Push pass through? I don't know. This show starts now. Oh, I'm just a chill guy. I think that applies to everyone up here and applies to all of you out there who are in the chat. Welcome to the Cowboys DLLS podcast, where today we talk about the new chill guy. Not that chill guy, the other chill guy, George Pickens from Cowboys OTAs. We discuss Dak being cleared by the doctors, but a little bit of a breaking news. The owners had a meeting.
Albert!
And one of the things that had been tabled from the previous owner meetings was the ruling on the Tush Push. And for a lot of people, they thought this is it. The Tush Push has seen its final days. Well, by a landslide. And it wasn't even close. The Tush Push is still here. You can still tush push, buddy push, whatever kind of push you want, push gift. Lakers in 5. No.
Lakers in 5.
The NFL owners decided that the Tush Push will live on for at least another season, despite all the evidence and the politicking that the league tried to put out there and other teams tried to put out there, like Green Bay and others, about the injuries that can come from the Tush Push. I, for one.
Who are you, though?
I, for one.
Who are you, though?
I am. Oh, I got to do the intro.
Exactly.
That's right. I got to get the intros in. I am Salt and Pepper Poppy.
Oh, Jesse Hollywood, 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
All right, there you go, quarterback. We're now halfway of a full show. It was the BET, right? Then it was
Salt and Pepper?
It was the Salt and Pepper show.
Ebony and Ivory.
Then it was Ebony and Ivory. Now we got 6-0 and 5-0. So, to my right, the greatest Cowboys beat writer of all time.
If you want to win, put chill in. All time.
That all time makes you sound old.
Yeah.
And then we got Mr. 5-0 himself.
Blurp,
Joe
blurp.
Hood.
Tell him something, Joe.
Blurp, blurp.
It's Little Joe Cartwright. Little Joe Cartwright.
Yeah, G from
If you
Jersey,
don't,
that
if you
was
don't
good.
know who Little Joe Cartwright is, this is my guy. He's a handsome guy from the old school.
You know, I like you
Huh?
both. You think I'm thick and you think I'm handsome, so I like it.
I'm not getting into that anymore.
Little Joe was handsome.
Yeah.
You just remind me of Little Joe.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, so the Tush Push has been approved. I, for one, did not want the Tush Push to go away. I thought the Philadelphia Eagles, they found a loophole. They had players on their team, Jordan Mailata, who was a former rugby player, and they had it down to a T. It's strategy. You find a way to win games that is legal, that is borderline. Sometimes it may be cheating, but if it's okay within the rules, use it. Don't like it, stop it, or get better at it and you use it. So that's my take on it. I'm glad that it stayed, and I hope that more teams know how to use it.
And before Joe goes, I want to correct one thing. It wasn't a landslide, okay? It fell by 2 votes.
The wording on some of the tweets were a little bit weird, but yeah,
it fell by 2 votes. They had 22 to 10. They needed 24 to kill it. So 22 teams voted against it, or voted to shoot it down. 10 voted to keep it.
So if they got 2 more, it would have been shot down.
Yeah, it would have been shot down.
Yeah,
and so
the wording was weird though on Twitter.
Yeah, so it wasn't a landslide. They really got some votes. They just didn't get enough. So the league, Goodell, are trying to ban. And one thing, Andrew Brandt, who's a former GM for the Packers and NFL agent analyst, he pointed out that it's interesting that it came from Goodell because they used a ownerless Packers team to push it through.
Yeah.
It was an ownerless Packers team that decided we're going to put this proposal up to ban it. The ownerless Packers team. So clearly they got influence from the top.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. It better be interesting that I think the downfall of this push, frankly, and we saw it pushed earlier at the owners' meetings a couple months ago, and then it got tabled for this moment. I think that the narrative that this causes injuries and we're trying to protect injuries when the numbers say that there's not injuries with this play, I think that might have been the downfall ultimately. I know people are going to politic and you're just going to try to use different narratives to push the agenda. But frankly, I think a lot of people, who said, yeah, we might be willing to vote to ban this. Maybe they had some second thoughts where the narrative that this is an injury-based play when there's no studies to suggest there's injuries, even though there could be. I think that was maybe their downfall ultimately, in my opinion.
I don't want to argue with you. And that's a good point of view. But I would say that
here comes the argument.
I would say that part of it is competitiveness. There's some people who say, I don't want to ban this play because I don't want I can't stop it.
For sure.
It's a mental. Because there's only a few teams, okay? But there's some teams like the Ravens. I think they had listed some of the teams that voted to support
Diana
the Eagles.
said Ravens, Lions, Patriots, Jets. I think
there's some teams that say it's like I say. If you don't like it, stop me, right? If you want to. There's some teams that are really competitive. I'm going to find a way to stop it legally without the league getting involved. Yeah, and they're the Super Bowl champs. But that's that's the NFL mentality.
Right,
that's the player mentality.
But it's the players didn't vote. The owners voted.
I know,
but
they
don't have to play one snap.
No, they were influenced by their coaches. Their team. There's some coaches that say, we're going to stop this play. But you're right. He said Chris Jones got hurt in the Super Bowl trying to stop that play, and there is some injury to that. And again, they're. Great majority of teams want to stop it. If you go over to 22 out of the 32 teams, there are 22 who voted to ban the play. So the great majority of the teams, and then you got some teams that abstained because it was 22 to 10. Well, not abstain, my bad. But the great majority of the teams said we need to get this out of football.
Yeah. No, and that's I hear that. That's one example. But I think the argument was this is a injury laden play, and that this will cause so many injuries. And I think one football play that kind of happens like that, I think that's more of happenstance rather than this is the ultimate sickness and from the.
They will get them 2 votes next year. This is how that works. It's like
they will get them next year.
They will get them. So all of that, they will get them 2 votes next year. They're just 2 away. They will get them 2 votes.
It's wild that they're worried about this play that may happen once or twice a game.
Maybe once or twice. The Eagles, every time they get to 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, they do it not just at the goal line.
How many teams actually run it? The Eagles. I'm saying so. You may see it. I should say 1 or 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my bad. Okay. I'm going to say
But they're sure pushing for that 18th game.
For sure.
And
they sure pushing for that 18th
3 games in 11 days, as Just Call Me Dom said. So that's fine.
So, that's why the NFL is hypocritical when they talk about what's safety and what's not safety. We can go down the list, whether marijuana, taking those shots, different things, meeting in the locker room. It's all hypocritical. And I'm glad you brought up the 18-game thing because one rule that did get shot down or also that was tabled or withdrawn was the plan to reseed in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But division champ didn't automatically get a home game. And what I was hearing is that once they go to 18 games, they're going to do that. Mm-hmm. So they're going to wait. They're waiting to the 18 game. Once they go to 18 games, they're going to do the reseeding and all that other stuff. But that
makes sense.
That was pulled back this year.
Let's go to Super Chat. Vance had a Super Chat. He says, I just wish we could ban football teams increasing in value without going to the Super Bowl in 30 years.
That's a shot.
That would be great.
Shot, man. That's a shot.
Well, they only keep increasing in value because, man, y'all keep going to games and buying tickets and buying merch.
And you know what? And they keep watching shows like this. And keep watching shows like this.
Keep watching shows like this. Because I need my value to go up. I need my value to go up.
When the Cowboys' value go up, our value goes up. Okay, let's lift off. What does it do?
All boats float.
It lifts our boats, baby. It lifts our boats, man. We need that attention. So let's not get beside ourselves.
I do have to say, I love how Clarence was like, I'm not going to argue with you, but.
And to be honest with you.
It's the ultimate, with all due respect.
But he also didn't even argue. That was the
right. So that's what I'm saying is a lot of time I'm just extending the conversation. And it's not. It's a conversation.
This instance,
yes.
But most times I'm just expanding the conversation. Everybody has their point of view. Nobody lets me right or wrong. But I'm expanding the conversation, but it comes across as an argument. And no, that's a good point of view.
Let's expand this conversation. Of all the noise that we've heard about George Pickens and maybe the headache that he could have been in Pittsburgh, and that's, feel how you feel about it, right? Like he's here because of a reason. It's not because you don't get rid of super talented players that don't cause issues. That just doesn't happen.
Can you be positive?
I'm about to get.
He's getting them
because people like just you got all these negative takes, man. Be positive.
If anybody don't give a damn what people think or say about it, it's me.
Be positive.
But at OTAs yesterday, you were there. A lot of the reporters got a chance to talk to George Pickens, and they asked him about, what kind of guy are you? We're new to knowing you. You're new to the city. You're new to this team. What kind of guy are you? And George Pickens just basically said, I'm a chill guy.
Well, first of all, they didn't do that. I did that. That's just for point of order. Yes. Point of order. Those other reporters who were there and asking questions didn't ask that question. I asked that question. I said all the narratives. They got into the narratives and what happened in Pittsburgh and everything else. And I said, we all know the narrative. You're shooting them down, whatever else. What do you want people to know about you that they don't know, that has not been reported in Pittsburgh? And he said, I'm a chill guy. I'm a chill guy. That means I like Chill Hill. That means I'm laid back.
Oh, no, he didn't say that. No.
Yeah.
I don't think he said that.
He said, I like to work. I'm a chill guy. But that's something he pointed out. And again, one thing I've noticed, which I talked about, we can say what you want about him. And things have been said, everything from Pittsburgh and going back to Georgia. But he has proven, at least in 2 press conferences, that he can be a coachable player. And I walked to him afterwards, and I said, man, I talked to your agent. I had to let him know. I had to let him know. He said, yeah, man, we started talking about Florida. We started talking about, we started about Alabama and coming south. And I said, you been coached well? I said, yeah. I said, you stay on your points. He said, yes, I do. Yes, he been coached well. So at least we know he's a coachable player. That doesn't mean much, but he's not so hard-headed. And he talked about growth. Everybody talking about maturity, and we all need to mature. Yes, I need to mature, and that's one thing that shot him. We talked about the players, and CeeDee has known him since before the draft when he came out at 22, and they worked together. And certainly he was in Phoenix with him, which you got the great video from our guys at PHNX, and it says, we have a great relationship. He knows him. He's like, I'm like the big brother. I'm trying to get, it's kind of roles reversed when he was Amari Cooper. But he also said that Pickens has not stopped smiling since he's been in, and you can see that. And Shotty talked about playing basketball with. That's one of the things we're going to certainly get into that. But he played basketball with him, shot hoops with him, took him to dinner, and he said he likes everything. He said his eagerness in meetings, which is just little things. Mm-hmm. But for a guy who's a malcontent and all the other stuff we said about him, sourpuss, whatever, at least he's come to Dallas so far with just a weekend. So, and trying to do the right thing. He talked about watching you because they're watching everything you do. Yeah. They're watching him in meetings and how he interacts and what he does. And Shotty brought up this, I like seeing him. I like what he's done. And we have a chemistry, we have a team. We're going to try to put him in the right environment. We're going to try to put him around the right people. We all need to grow, but we're going to try to put him in an environment to succeed. They love him on the field. But off the field so far, so good. Yeah,
and I think, just you pointed out, like a guy who is averaging 1,000 yards receiving per year, who's really talented, doesn't get traded for no reason, right? But I think one thing that I think the last 2 press conferences, and honestly the energy that he's brought, and you talk about the smiling, I think it does open up the idea that, like, sometimes when a situation goes awry, maybe it's just the fit too. And, like, maybe George Pickens doesn't exactly fit in Pittsburgh, but under Schottenheimer, maybe he does. And I'm not saying, like, that's absolutely going to be the case, and he's going to be the perfect soldier all year long. When adversity hits, he's going to persevere right through it. But I think that there is at least some semblance to the idea of maybe things could work out better here. Maybe he is a revitalized version of himself. Maybe after 3 years of, trying to be something and Pittsburgh not liking what he was, he maybe got frustrated. And I think when you're frustrated, things come out, and now he might have a new lease on life. I don't know. I think the last week and a half, 2 weeks of him being with the Cowboys has at least opened up that possibility.
And he caught a rejuvenate. That's something you can speak to as a receiver. Because fit matters. I mean, I go way back to Alvin Harper, who was great in Dallas, got money, went to Tampa, and was nothing. Laurent Robinson, great in Dallas, went to Jacksonville, we never heard from. Fit matters. The team matters, the quarterback matters, and that can impact, your production.
You want me to speak on it now?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. We'll do that after.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The break. We'll hold that. We'll hold that thought. We'll speak about it after the break. Stay right here with us. We'll talk about that and George Pickens coming into this new culture that's being set by head coach Brian Schottenheimer. We'll talk about the culture, the aura of the culture of Brian Schottenheimer, what he's setting over there at AT&T or the Star and AT&T Stadium. We'll talk about that coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. And you want to put your best foot forward, especially when someone's stepping into your house, right? You want to have that culture of this is a nice crib. Well, you don't do that if your flooring is bad. And if you want to be like Brian Schottenheimer and change the aura and culture of your house, then you need to go to EmpireToday.com and use the promo code DLLS and get yourself some brand new flooring. And they'll give you $350 off if you do so. Maybe it's laminate, maybe it's vinyl. Maybe you still want to stick around with a little bit of carpet or our favorite, the wood. Maybe you want to put a little bit of wood on your floor. That will definitely change the narrative of you being cheap, maybe, or not having great taste. But whatever's in your budget, $350 off will definitely help you out. Empire Today has all the experts that know everything about flooring. And if you don't want to leave the confines of your own home, you can go to EmpireToday.com. You can upload a picture of the room that you want to get new flooring in and just start mixing and matching. You can put this on, you can put that on, take this away, take that away. Whatever it is that you want to do, they will get you right. Head over to EmpireToday.com, use the promo code DLLS, and save $350 off new flooring. Our good friends at Lucy, Jeff, I know I think he brought like 3 or 4 Lucy's on his trip. And so on this long plane ride that he has to take back to the States, you can't vape. Can't smoke. No one wants to sit next to a guy chewing tobacco, but I'm sure he has his Lucy's. Lucy's is 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. Lucy breakers are nicotine pouches with a little extra surprise. Every pouch holds a capsule that can be broken, open to release the extra flavor in hydration. They got like the winter green and the berry this and the berry that. And then, you don't spit these on the ground and you don't just throw them anywhere. They have a little pouch on the box. You just click it open, put your little old one out there, pop a new one in there. So make sure you head on over to go to lucys.com/DLLS, use the promo code DLLS and get 20% off your first order. Remember, Lucy, for adult legal age only, every order is age verified. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. We are back. The Cowboys are underway in OTAs. And the one thing outside of the George Pickens conversation, the one thing that we have heard since it has happened, Michael from Pittsburgh was let go. Brian Schottenheimer was brought in. And Joe, Clarence, you guys were both talking about, man, this guy is going to win the press conference. This guy can talk to a room. He can get your attention. He can keep your attention. And he can change at least what you think about him when you hear him speak. And every time he steps up to the media plate, he's been hitting home runs. He has been on an Aaron Judge, Barry Bonds type role when he's gotten in front of the cameras. When he's gotten in front of a microphone, I'll be honest, I haven't tuned into a session where Brian Schottenheimer has talked and left that session feeling underwhelmed. I've always felt like, okay, I got it. Now, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to the football field, but his approach was changing the culture. We hear that so much, changing the culture, changing the culture, changing the culture. You can put a penny on the needle and let that bad boy spin, over and over and over and over and over again. But you were out there yesterday, Pop, and Joe, you've been around him. Is the aura of Brian Schottenheimer starting to really shine bright in Cowboy Nation?
I'm gonna let Joe talk. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm a sourpuss because I'm
asking about the aura. I'm not asking about is it a matter of the football
in the
field?
mortal words of Derek Coleman, which I love great sports quotes. Whoop-de-damn-do. Whoop-de-damn-do. For who?
I'll give
for what?
Joe-o.
I'll give a little positivity and a little buy into this culture idea because I'm with you, Jesse. Culture is a word that is thrown around, and I think even Clayton Adams talked about it before the draft, and he said, yeah, everywhere I've been, because someone asked him, how different is the culture here? And he's like, no, everyone I've been says, let's have a good culture. But what happens? Does it sustain? Can you persevere? Can this culture persevere through a 3-5 start? And that's the reason why you come back. And, I think that I will give credit, though, to Brian Schottenheimer in terms of what you were saying. We talked about it. He's going to kind of he's going to sway people, I think. And that's what's happened here. I think a lot of fans when they hear him talk, they get excited about what he's doing. And I think, honestly, a lot of players at this point right now, before any games are played, get excited about it a little bit too. I mean,
okay.
But here's the thing, because there's two sides to this, right? You can have the side of like a Liam Cohen who goes, Duval. That doesn't look good for you. Like that doesn't look good for you initially. When you have that goofy Duval, that you're a knock against you. And then you can have the man Campbell and saying, we're gonna fight anywhere, we're gonna bite some kneecaps. And that fits the culture of Detroit. And he won over people. People don't even remember his first season in Detroit was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Right? But because he was saying the right thing and he matched the energy of the culture of the city, it worked. So
you know what worked?
Winning worked.
You know what worked?
Yeah, winning.
Having that great receiving core, having that great offensive line, okay? Having a quarterback that's
winning
fixture, having Ben Johnson call plays, having Eric Glenn play defense, having that defensive end from Michigan get to the quarterback. That's what works.
So let me say this.
You can bite kneecaps all you want and talk about the platitudes.
Let's say this because
can they stop the damn run?
Let's say this.
Culture ain't stopping the run.
Let's say we out at Club Pop-Pop.
Club Pop-Pop.
We out at Club. Hey, the music is jamming. We out Club Pop-Pop, right? And across the room, you look over there and she looking back at you, right? And you said, the culture in here, the culture over there is looking, right? So initially, all you have is what you see, the culture across the room. And then she comes over and you like,
and the next morning, you're going to ask me what?
No, you ain't get to the next morning.
Let him cook.
And then you walk. The culture walks over to you and it's like, this is my first impression with this culture over there.
Right.
And she opened her mouth and can't speak, can't talk, loud, all that. All of a sudden, done. You don't even get a chance to get to the next stage. This is the first stage. This is the introduction. This is all we have. We don't have anything else. And I'm with you. I know culture, the speaking doesn't talk. All that doesn't matter when the pads come on and the games are played.
And that's all I care about.
But this is all we have.
I understand that. And more power to you. More power to you.
This is what we have.
More power to you.
Because if it was the opposite, you say, "Oh, look at this guy. He
but it's
bombed
never
it.
been. I've been through 7 coaches.
I've been through
7. It's never been. It's always you. This coach was too soft. Now we got to go with Parcells because he is a disciplinarian. He's gonna reset, and we bought into that. Then Parcells was too hard. Now we got to bring in Wade because he's more of a player's coach. I've been through all of this. I've seen this movie. I've seen the dance before. It sounds good, and I'm not mad at you. Go into it. We're playing. We got a ping pong table. You know what? We got a ping pong table in the middle of the locker room. That's going to help you win, right? Because it keeps guys there. He was in the players' lounge, okay? Which is set for the players to hang out, okay?
But were they hanging out in there?
That's not my problem.
Okay.
They created the players' lounge.
I know, but now he's doing something different.
For players to hang out, okay? And they got the ping pong table and all of the players to hang out. Now, they were playing wastebasket basketball in the locker room center. Now we're going to bring the ping pong table into the locker room so players will stay longer. Why wouldn't they stay? The players' lounge is designed so you can get away from the media. It's got comforts. You can chill. But clearly they weren't doing that.
Yeah, but
okay.
See,
let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. I'm just saying. Now we're playing basketball. We're going to dinner. It all sounds good.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard was on talk. I saw him on Sirius Radio, and he was talking about Tennessee, and he said, "You know what they changed this year? They quit having a locker room position by position group, and now the running backs about defensive backs and defensive back this, so we can get to know each other." Duh.
Yeah,
they've been doing that. They do that all over. Every team in the league talks culture. They want leaders. They want the right kind of guy. That's what you're supposed to. Everybody talks about that. You know the team that wins? The team that has the better players. The Eagles have the better team. They won the damn Super Bowl. That's what matters. So yes, we can talk about this. It sounds good. We can.
But you remember last year when they lost? Remember that?
I remember 12-5, that great coach that was second winningest team in the NFL in the regular season. In the playoffs, it didn't matter.
Yeah, but at the very least, it's a prerequisite to what Jesse talked about. And I think one thing players don't get enough credit for in locker room specifically, I think they're one of the best BS detectors there are. If a coach comes in, and in terms of a coach coming in and be like, hey, guys, we're going to build culture and be a team. If they don't buy it, they're not going to buy it. But I think Brian Schottenheimer, though, the difference between Brian Schottenheimer and some other coaches, in my opinion, objective opinion, just watching him, I do think there's like a genuine intent on like building relationships and actually kind of building this culture from the ground up. They drafted a lot of guys with culture. They signed a lot of guys with culture. Yeah, the Pickens thing, but you need also a little bit of edge with that culture, right? They believe that their culture can handle it. I think that Brian Schottenheimer has so far been very genuine up on that podium, speaking about what he wants to speak, and then he's doubled down with action. He wants competitive guys, right? So yeah, ping pong table might seem a little silly right now in the offseason, like, oh, that's going to be the culture thing. No, but guess what? Who is not competitive on a ping pong table? Ask anyone about ping pong. They'll tell you they're the best ping pong player they've ever seen.
We're competitive by interviews. Everybody's naturally competitive. And with all due respect, Joe, how many coaching changes have you seen come through here?
In Dallas, I've seen now two.
How many have you covered with the Cowboys?
With the from Mike McCarthy to Brian Schottenheimer. Okay. But I've covered coaching hires. I've covered coaching hires and stuff all the time.
But NFL is different than college. And with all due respect, I'm just saying though, they all
covered the Texas Rangers when they changed coaches. Like covered
the NFL is a different locker room. Again, the bottom line is, you're preaching to the choir. They want to win. They want to buy in. Players generally, you have to do something for them not to buy in. The NFL mentality, focus, player mentality, they want to run through the wall for the coach. You're preaching to an audience that's ready to lap it up. Okay, they all are going to buy in because they want.
I was just saying, I disagree with that.
No, they don't.
I said they want to. I'm not saying they're not going. I'm not saying everybody's going to, but generally they want to buy in. They want to. They want their jobs on the line. The coaches.
Yeah, and that goes back to Joe's point. The minute I see that you're not genuine or you're trying to yuck this thing up,
I don't mess with you.
I turn you off.
Again, that happens. That happens during the year. That happens when you win and losses. Right now in training camp, right in the offseason, everybody's trying to buy in. They know they failed. They failed the last coach. They loved Mike McCarthy. They loved how he got the team ready. We can say, we go back to Mike McCarthy. They loved Mike McCarthy. They loved, by and large, Dak is the one that's been through them all. And he loved Jason Garrett. He loved his relationship with Wade Wilson. He loved his relationship with the quarterbacks coach. Then the new quarterback coach. He loved John Kitna. Okay, he loves Brian Schottenheimer. He works with him. He's a sponge for all of them. They are going to, they want to believe because they want to win because ultimately it's on their legacy. We will see.
Yeah, but it's a prerequisite.
We will see. That's not, in every city. We
don't cover every city. We cover this city.
But also, if it came out and Brian Schottenheimer, if Brian Schottenheimer was cheesy at the podium and was just like, "Oh, hey guys, like we're gonna do this," and like,
well, Jason Garrett was cheesy at the podium, but the players generally liked him.
Oh.
Except Dez, okay.
No,
when I ain't talking about Dez,
Jason Witten. That's a locker room.
Jason
that's
Witten.
a locker room that I can tell you that I was in, and that locker room was very divided. When it came to Jason Garrett,
you came between the person after the change when Wade. I'm talking about later on the guys that Jason brought in, all his guys. You know the Jason guys that Dez talked about.
Right.
They liked him. Okay, the Jason guys liked him. Dak Prescott loved Jason Garrett. Okay. He loved Wade Wilson.
Dak loves everyone.
Okay, I understand that, but the players, they all bought into Jason Garrett.
I think Dak loved Wade Wilson.
He loved, but Wade Wilson left us too soon.
Yep.
Okay, but they brought in Linehan. I'm sorry, and they brought in whatever. He loved them all. I'm just saying that they generally are going to buy in.
You did that very demure. It was very just.
Well, I mean, I love Wade Wilson.
No, but
he's the one that found Dak Prescott.
No, I know, but
he's the one that really stood on the table for them to draft Dak Prescott, and he doesn't get enough credit for that. He didn't get enough credit at the time for that.
He gave Dak the answer to the question. He knew the question that Jason Garrett was going to ask him. He gave Dak the answer before.
I love when scouts and coaches do that.
But you know what? He became a starting quarterback as a rookie and became rookie of the year. So
he had to get in the door first.
You know, unlike your boy in Chicago who said the coach didn't even help him learn the plays, and who's the head coach? Didn't teach him how to watch film.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm saying you put your guy in an environment to do well. They did well.
All right, so quick super chats. Vance says in the super chat, main culture society needs to fix is placing players in better positions to succeed.
That's fair.
We're with it. Well, I would do 100%. From Clay Matthews, Freak Jesus, Pop. When is the new culture? When is new culture?
When this new culture?
When this new culture?
goes beyond the second round this year, you'll be owing me $20.
If you think the second round is the goal for the Cowboys and going to mean something to me, you barking up the wrong tree.
When was the last time they got past?
I don't give a damn.
11,000 days.
Do not give a damn. The second round is not the goal, and nobody's going to be happy.
All right, let's get to commercial break because we have somebody that's coming on that's just as opinionated, it may be even more than old Pop here. And we'll ask him the question, does culture really matter? Keyshawn Johnson joins us next right here on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. And if you're deciding that, you know what, I'm bought in. The culture has gotten me. I'm going to these games this year. What you need to do is go download the Game Time app, right? You go to some Cowboy games. You know, you want to go to some Rangers games, some Stars start the playoffs tonight, right? Tonight?
Yeah. Game 1.
Game 1 for the Stars. And you want to be there, you need to go get your tickets from Game Time. Download the app. Use the promo code DLLS and get $20 off your first purchase. That can buy you a beer, some nachos, or something like that. Bring a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend and go get the Game Time app. And I love about the Game Time app is you press the button, they show you where your seat is at. I get to see where I'm sitting. I don't have no weird views. I'm not sitting behind a basket. I'm not sitting behind a concrete post, and I can't see the game. So head over to your phone. Go to the App Store, download the app, the Game Time app. Use the promo code DLLS and get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it?
Game time.
And when you walk into the game from the parking lot pimp.
Your segues are good. Your segues are good.
Parking lot.
Don't blow him up.
See, you never want to give credit where credit is.
Hey, block out the haters with the shady race.
You block out the haters with the shady. This is how you block out the haters right here. They want to look into your eyes to see how they can get to you. Haters can't get to me. You know why? Because I got my shady rays. My shady rays is in there. You can get 35% off a pair of polarized. You get 35% off a pair of polarized glasses if you go to shadyrays.com right now. Use the promo code DLLS. You block the haters out. Put the big. I want the dark tint on my glasses so that when Clarence try to look over at me and he try to see me in my eyes when he's saying something crazy, I ain't looking at him. I'm looking past him in my shady rays. I'm cool to the other side of the pillow, as my boy Stuart Scott used to say. But they have every style that you need, every color that you need, whatever it is you need. Shady Rays can get you right. Head over to shadyrays.com, use the promo code DLLS, and save 35% off a pair of polarized glasses. Do we got wide receiver 1? Is he with us?
Throw me the damn ball, baby.
Is he with us?
Throw me the damn ball.
Man, I'm trying to.
There you go.
Now move to your left just a little bit so you can square up. There you go. Now down a little bit. There you go.
Wait, but I'm trying to fix my earbud, man.
Oh, my God. Man, your head's so big.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We hear you and you see you. We got you.
Move to your left just a little bit.
Man, I can't.
Okay, all right.
We working it out.
Old folks. There you go, right?
Man, just
Up a little bit, down a little bit.
There you go.
Perfect.
He's
He's
right
perfect.
there.
He's perfect.
man, relax.
Old folks. You're old.
You old, y'all sitting up panicking. I don't. My earbuds.
We hear you fine. We hear you fine.
No, I got it. Calm down, man.
Keep trying to fix your earbuds.
He doesn't need help like you.
Keyshawn, we appreciate you joining the show. Thank you for taking the time out for that. We'll jump right into this thing, man. And the question that I have off the gate, the Cowboys,
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're live.
Are we rolling right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, that's why we were kind of like trying to because we were live while So the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, he was a lone wolf for a long time, didn't have a running mate, didn't have anybody to go opposite of him. The Cowboys go out and bring a guy in like George Pickens. And so we've said here in this show, I've said here on this show, the narrative that they're trying to say now and push now is we're co-number ones. As someone who's sat in that number one seat, is there a such thing as co-number ones? And would Keyshawn Johnson ever admit to having a co-number one on his team?
Well, first of all, I'm not opinionated, so we need to stop that. I just have real thoughts. So I want to let you know, don't push that narrative out there, because what you've been doing, you've been reading the newspapers and the internet for too long and hadn't had an opportunity to see me personally or interview me personally. But I'm not opinionated. All I am is matter of fact. That's it. So let's move on from that.
But does the matter of fact come from the opinions that circulate in your mind?
No, it comes from the opinions of those that never met me, don't know me, and never had an opportunity to sit down and talk to me. That's why I always jump on people when they start saying things like, "Oh, he's opinionated. Oh, he's a outspoken diva wide receiver." It ain't just you; it's all of them, including that dude sitting in the middle with that purple on.
Throw me the damn ball. Answer the question.
I'm about to get there. You know, it all depends on how you want to perceive the individual coming into the locker room, right? Every team I've ever been on, I was the number one wide receiver, except in Carolina because I came to Steve Smith opposed to Steve Smith coming to me. But at the end of the day, I just did whatever they asked me to do. It didn't really matter. I could certainly understand CeeDee Lamb's point of view with a guy like George Pickens is you want to be a veteran like that and put your arms around him and make him comfortable. You don't want him feeling like everything is going through CeeDee Lamb, even though everything is going through CeeDee Lamb. That's just the pecking order. That's the money. The money speaks and says, hey, he's our number one guy. We like you, and when he's doubled or he falls down or somebody holds him at the line of scrimmage, you're our number two guy that we're going to go to. From time to time, we'll move you around, put you in certain positions when we know they're going to try to take CeeDee away. So therefore, you may be the number one option in this particular game. But CeeDee Lamb is the number one option.
That's what? I am glad I got you on there because history matters. Experience matters. We can go back. Because I know there was a time when you came to a team where they had a number one receiver who wore 88. Everybody didn't, people talking about when you got a new coach, everybody's going to buy in. And there's one guy that didn't buy in to Bill Parcells.
I didn't play with Michael.
I know. You played with another 88.
They don't count.
You played with another 88.
They don't count Antonio Brown as in the 88.
You know Antonio Brown was 88.
Oh, he was.
See, they don't even count him.
And what happened when Antonio Brown didn't buy into Bill Parcells? Because people that think everybody bought into Bill Parcells. What happened when Antonio Brown didn't buy into Bill Parcells bringing his boy Keyshawn in here? Tell the people what happened. Go the whole story before you call me on the phone from practice.
But Clarence, he wasn't the one. He just wasn't. He wasn't the one. He might have been Dallas's one prior to my arrival, but he wasn't.
Tell us what happened. I didn't ask you today.
Well, he didn't necessarily like the way things was unfolding in practice. Because I came in and as a veteran player that knows what to do, I ain't running up and down no damn field and ain't getting no football in practice. It's not happening. So I would go in only when they throw the ball to the X or the Z or to me.
Right, exactly.
And Antonio Brown was Antonio Bryant was running up and down the field, frustrated because whenever I would go in, they throw the ball to me. I'd come out, he'd go in, he'd clear it out for somebody else. So he got mad and got into an argument with the coaching staff, basically, and took off his jersey and threw it in Parcells' face. And at that point, I told him, I said, man, your Dallas career over with, buddy. and he was traded a day or two later. I certainly could understand his frustrations based on his thought process. But sometimes in reality, sometimes you have to look at reality and not your thought process. The reality of it is that they brought me in because you couldn't get it done. That's the reality of it, And if he'd have just stayed the course, he probably could have turned into something for the Cowboys. If he'd have just stayed the course. But, you get frustrated and all those things. But that's not the situation with CeeDee and George Pickens because CeeDee got his money, so he ain't going to get frustrated, right? They going to get him the football. Well, George Pickens has got to just stay calm and allow Dak Prescott to go through his progressions and his reads. And Schotty has to, at times, give a dude an olive branch to not have him out there just working, running up and down the field and ignoring him. You gotta give him a little bone, right? You gotta give him a little snack. If you don't want him peeing on the carpet, you gotta give him a snack and let him out from time to time.
Yeah, we've talked about what the Cowboys could ultimately get by getting George Pickens and what that could do for the offense. I'm just curious from what your perspective is on if this works out, if George Pickens kind of does fit into the culture, kind of things go well, what could this receiving core actually do now that he's kind of involved in it?
I think they're certainly one of the 5 or 6 duels in the league, right? Just based on George Pickens. I think last year Pickens probably had about 900-something yards, about 50-some-odd, 60 catches, a couple touchdowns, only played in 14 games, not even 17 games. So if you calculate and do the math on those numbers, plus what CeeDee Lamb was able to do in the limited time that he played last year, both of them will be over 1,000 yards. Both will probably be over 70-plus catches. Both of them will probably be into over and above 5 touchdowns or so. If you can get that, you just go back to what Amari Cooper was able to do. I think it was in 2016-17 when he arrived via the trade to the Oakland Raiders. All of a sudden, third down percentage on the offensive side, and Dak Prescott became a different quarterback. It rose. And so I think add George Pickens, and like you said earlier at the top, CeeDee Lamb kind of been the lone ranger for like the last 3 years out there so by himself, although he got some things from a couple other receivers, but not nearly what George Pickens is going to bring to the table. So I think the offense could still be lethal in terms of the passing game.
Keyshawn, you've been on a couple of different teams, and one of the things that we've talked about a lot since Brian Schottenheimer has gotten hired here is his ability or his willingness to want to bring a certain type of culture to Dallas. From a player's perspective, how important is culture, or is this something that we just throw this word out there and it doesn't really matter? It's one of those things where if you're winning, the hell with everything, that's the only thing that matters. Like, give us a player's perspective on the culture setting a head coach tried to bring in when he first gets the job.
It depends on what type of coach we're talking about, because most coaches or most organizations that have some sort of culture, that coach has been there for an extended period of time. And that culture is going to be what it's going to be. When you start to think about my rookie year at the Jets in 1-15, we had a certain culture, which was a losing mentality from top to bottom. And when Bill Parcells stepped in, the culture completely changed overnight to the point where he fired the security guard at the front door, up on arrival. So everybody was put on notice immediately at what this was going to be. This was not getting ready to be a country club again. We're not blankets in the training rooms and, sitting and getting comfortable in the training room with blankets on you while you're getting rehabbed and TVs, watching TVs. All that shit was over with. He wasn't having it. And so it brought a certain mentality and a culture, and all of a sudden we started winning and became one of the teams to look forward to and beat in the AFC. And that is a different type of culture. When Tony Dungy arrived Tampa Bay, he brought a different type of culture. It was defensive mentality. Everything was built on the defense, and that was the ruler of the locker room, so to speak. It's just different teams, different direction. Now, Schotty is part of McCarthy's staff. How much of a different culture is it going to be than what it was under McCarthy? Because if I've been under McCarthy for however long I was under him, there's certain things that I'm already accustomed to. And if I try to change certain things and try to do certain things that people haven't seen me do in the past, that can run afoul. It can be dangerous in terms of all of a sudden I'm put you on lockdown every day. Everyone's like, man, what the hell wrong with you? So it's just going to take a minute for them to win some games and for him to be successful as a coach, for people to really start buying in. They ain't going to buy in immediately. It's just not going to happen. I don't care what nobody try to tell you, because he got to win. He's a lifer as an assistant coach. We know him as an assistant. We don't know him as a successful head coach.
One question before we get out of here. The goal is to win the Super Bowl. You're talking about winning, okay? What you've seen the Cowboys do this offseason, certainly you've chronicled and watched the Cowboys since you were a player, and certainly doing all your shows on Fox and ESPN and everything else. You've analyzed this league. Have they done enough to get over the hump, and what do they still need to do? Because it's all about winning Super Bowls. It ain't about getting to the second round.
It's an interesting question because we're in May, in the middle of May. There's no way we're ever going to be able to tell that the Cowboys are going to be able to compete in the Super Bowl, let alone in the NFC East. We can't tell that today. We just can't.
But based on what they've done, have they improved?
They've only improved this much.
Even with Pickens?
This much, yeah, because before it was like this. Now it's like this. You see what I'm saying? We couldn't tell that the Washington Commanders were going to be in the NFC Championship game. We couldn't tell that.
Yeah.
But them jokers was in the NFC Championship game. So you don't really know until they actually take the field in September, not in August and not in July, but in September. You'll start to see when the shit hits the fan if it's a real team or not. And people, it's good to talk about because we need something to talk about in the offseason, but there's no way of knowing what they're going to wind up being as a team. For all we know, they might not be good at all, or they might be really good. You just don't know. But they haven't done enough on paper to leapfrog Washington, leapfrog Philadelphia. They just haven't done enough on paper to do those sort of things within the division.
I got one more then.
Blue fight.
It's Omega Sapphire. Don't do that. That's Sigma. Don't do that. You better than that. You know better than this. Don't do that. We're better than this, Keyshawn. And I'm gonna tell you when Antonio Brown threw that jersey in the face, Keyshawn called me right after practice. Okay, with the story.
Antonio Brown.
Well, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
No. Yes, when he threw the jersey in the face, he called me right after practice, so I had that scoop. I just wanted to let go. We've been doing these scoops a long time. Okay, long time. With help. Okay, we've been doing these scoops a long time. Going back to the coaching, the culture. You gone? Come on back. That's probably what happened. Okay. Oh, there he is. I got one quick. Hey, man, fix your phone, old man.
The phone ring when you're on.
You got Michael Irvin last week when Clarence was calling Michael Irvin, and you were telling Mike to tell Clarence to hang up the phone. And now look, you got hit with a phone call this week.
Yeah, but I'm on with y'all. See, I didn't hang up.
Yeah. Now we can't hear you. Can you talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Okay. One quick question. The discipline. Do the Cowboys, who have been an undisciplined team, penalties, do they need a player's coach? Do they need a friend that's going to be able to coach and go to lunch with you? Or do they need somebody like Parcells? I mean, does this team, because Mike McCarthy was not a disciplinarian. Jason Garrett is the one. And now you got another guy who wants to hug you rather than hold you accountable with some stern and tough love. Do they need is that going to get them over the hump?
You need a combination of both. It's okay to be stern and give tough love. It's okay to do those things and coach your team to be disciplined. As stern as Bill was cool as shit.
Right.
Like he was, you know what I'm saying? You do what you're supposed to do. And you good. You just got to do what you're supposed to do. And that's all good coaches. You know what I'm saying? Dungy's family first. In the office at 8 a.m., out of that bitch by 6 p.m. Not all day, not all night, but his teams was disciplined. And he wasn't a dictator and all that. He was just nice as can be. And he won and was successful, and he's in the Hall of Fame for doing it that way. Everybody skins a cat differently, man. It ain't one way. It's just, am I going to believe in Schottenheimer as the head coach in September? Not in July, not in March and May. And I'm talking about in September when the bullets go to flying and the lights come on and the crowd is screaming. Am I going to believe when I look in his eyes that he's the man that's going to get me to the promised land where I want to go? That's kind of the way you got to see it. Everybody I know, we all wanted Deion to be the coach and get the opportunity. And I think at some point in time, he probably will in the NFL. But for whatever reason, Jerry and them decided to do something different and go in a different direction. Look, if there's a reason, there's only one team that wins the Super Bowl every single year. There is a reason for it. because they got the right coach and the right players. And there's a reason that the Dallas Cowboys for the last 30 years have been trying to figure out the right coach and the right players to get them back to the Super Bowl, because they haven't figured it out yet. So maybe Schottenheimer's the guy.
Well, you had the right coach and you were a right player. That's why you have hosted one of those Super Bowls up. And so, Keyshawn, we appreciate you, brother, for joining the show today, man. We look forward to talking to you some other time when the season gets near, maybe around that September time, so we can come back and say, all right, is this team, from what you've seen, is this team ready to go? So we'll have our boy Clarence reach out to you.
Training camp. He'll be at training camp.
And bring you back on. Appreciate you, brother, man. Thank you.
It's Omega South by. Stop with that BS, man.
All right, man. Y'all be good.
All right, coming up next, we'll go around OTAs, Dak Prescott being cleared. We'll talk some more flag football, that being approved, and is that really going to be a thing that you see a lot of Cowboy players want to be a part of? Stay right here with this DLS Cowboys podcast. Yeah. Hey, listen, we the show, you can cuss. No, I'm playing. But if you become a diehard, if you just click the QR code and become a diehard, they may cuss in the articles. We'll cuss in the discourse.
Jerry cussed in the first article we had.
We did. The headline had a cuss in it, didn't it?
Yes.
The headline had a cuss in it. If you become a diehard, you can cuss. If you become a diehard, not only can you cuss, you can wear a free T-shirt. You get a free T-shirt becoming a diehard. You get 20% off any of the watch parties that we have, the tailgates that we'll have, the events that we will have. You get 20% off those things. You get that carrying card. You sure do. You sure do get that carrying card, man. Look pretty cool. You whip that thing out at the bar. The lady's going to say, what's that? You're going to say, that's the black card? You're going to say, nah, that's a carrying card. She going to be like, ooh, that's better than the black card. Now, I don't know that's necessarily true.
Airball.
But if you got more game to follow that up, then you can convince her of it. It's a good intro. It's a good intro. And if you need help with your game, Pop be in the Discord. He can give you all the tips and trades because he be out there. He's Riz Grandpa. He's Riz Grandpa. He think he got all the game. But
shoot or shoot, baby. Shoot or shoot.
But you get to read all the articles that they wrote. Joe wrote an article yesterday. Pop wrote an article today. You have Mavs, you have Rangers, you have Stars, and of course you have us. You have the Cowboys. But don't be on the outside looking in. You want to be in the VIP. If you outside in the general line and the line's wrapped around the block, you want to be in the club. Yeah. Hey. You want to be in the club, baby. You can't be in the club, baby, if you're not a diehard. So go head over to alldls.com and become a member. Get your carrying card, get your T-shirt. Tell them, get a couple T-shirts because you get 20% off anything that we have in the merch store.
Get a mug.
Sweatshirt. Well, it's a little hot right now. Get a mug. But in the wintertime.
Hit the like button.
Become a diehard. All right. That was good. I didn't know that. I didn't know where the interview was going at first.
I know.
The mature Jesse.
Yeah, I know.
Mature Jesse.
I'm proud of you.
The mature Jesse.
Exactly.
The mature
so when we
Jesse.
get RG3, I need to be the same way.
No.
Come on, Keyshawn, fun love. He was having fun.
No, we had fun.
Yeah.
We had fun. We had fun. The mature Jesse took it as a little bit of a ribbing, a little bit of a locker room, and said, you know what? We're gonna have a good interview.
He cool.
No, he's cool.
Yeah, he cool.
I'll tell you guys a funny Keyshawn and Jesse story after we go.
Oh, okay.
It goes into the conversation that you and Kit Kat were having about me pre-show.
Yeah. You were. It was about one of the phases he went through.
I was literally sitting there.
That he's not out of the phase.
I was literally sitting there.
Yeah, he was sitting. Joe,
the
was
phase.
sitting
right there.
Joe was sitting right
I'm
there.
sorry, Joe.
Joe was sitting there.
Joe never had a phase.
Yeah, no, Joe.
Oh.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. Joe probably got it. Everybody got it. Dak Prescott spoke yesterday after OTAs, and of course, the conversation is about: is Dak Prescott healthy? Is the hamstring ready to go? It was reports that he wasn't going to, of course,
be limited. They said he was going to be limited, yeah.
But he went out there, full participant. And the other report is that he's having the doctor that he uses in New York City flying out to Dallas to kind of finalize all those things so he can get back to full contact, though that's not happening for a couple months. But he's cleared to go full contact. Is he right on pace? Is he ahead of schedule? Like where? How did he look? How did he look?
Yeah, and I will have more on Dak because I talked to him exclusively last week, and we'll have more on Dak. I'm just being honest.
I know. Be a diehard. You know that.
We will have some more on Dak, but he's ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And as he said, I'm supposed to be ahead of schedule. Like I started my offseason in October, November.
Right.
You know, so he's ahead of schedule. He's ready. He's cleared. To say you're cleared now matters a damn because they're not going to hit to a training camp. He cannot have contact, but he can do everything. And he's running and doing all the – he's doing more sprinting. And I'll have more details on how he says – I don't think making that run, which y'all accused me of doing, is why I got hurt, but it is when I got hurt.
You were the one that
you
said –
did it.
It is when
you were the one that said
said
Aaron Rodgers has more rushing yards than you.
And he copped to the fact
the white
that
Dak Prescott has more yards than you.
He said, I run the same amount hard in the games I do in practice. I run hard in practice. I said, but you hadn't been running in games. And when you don't use it.
You're trying to get him hurt again.
No.
I'm going to be honest
what
with
I'm
you.
saying is.
The intensity in practice and the intensity in the
It's
game.
different.
Totally different.
He said, well, I always run the same. No, I mean, it's different. When somebody's chasing you,
you throttle down.
Yeah.
It's different in practice.
But what I'm saying is when you haven't run, when you haven't in the game started and stopped and cut and use that part of your body, when you finally use it, it's going to talk back to you. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yes, it was clear.
What's your body say when you use part to the body that you ain't using in a while? What kind of talking back do it do?
He was trying to cross me up earlier. He was trying to cross me up earlier.
You feel it, not that day, maybe the next day, but you're going to feel it, but you can feel it in the moment as well.
When you had those Bluetooths?
I've never used the Bluetooth, sir. Yeah, that's the operative word.
Cap.
I've never used the Bluetooth.
Cap.
Why is that cap?
It's cap.
I don't have an account. I'm not Jeff. Jeff is, got stock in Bluetooth.
You said the crown gets you right, though.
No, that's that blue and that other pill.
Bluetooth.
Okay, Bluetooth. I'm going to use it, though. I'm going to use it. But anyway, my point is just going back to OTAs. Dak looked good. He's throwing the ball. He looked good. The fact that he's out there and doing things, which even the Cowboys said he most likely will be limited, but he's not going to be limited until training camp or when he gets cleared for full contact. He's not cleared for full contact, but he's running and doing all those things. So that was great just to see him out there throwing the ball down the field to George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee wasn't in minicamp last year, OTAs last year. Sitting all those guys back there, out there, they were happy. They felt good. There are a couple other things before we delve into Dak.
I was going to go ahead.
Because we only got 3 minutes left. I was
going to toss to the next thing.
Yeah.
Another tidbit at training camp, you talked about that DaRon Bland he was playing, but wasn't playing his traditional outside corner position. DaRon Bland was playing in the slot, and you pulled DaRon Bland to the side, had another one of your exclusives, conversation with DaRon Bland about playing the slot corner.
In a contract year.
Not the nickel.
Yeah.
The slot corner. You stay away from that.
Same one.
Yeah, you stay away
from
the
family.
Nickel. You stay away from the nickel.
What did he say?
What
he just said that obviously that's not ideal. He wants to be outside because that's where the outside corners get paid. And he said he's going to talk to them about it. I said, "Are you?" Because I asked him. I tried to do the right thing. I'm not trying to cause no controversy. I'm not trying to cause controversy. When controversy comes, I'm going to notice it. But I asked him. I said, "I saw you playing slot corner." He said, yeah. And I said, "Are you cool with that? You're gonna do that for the good of the team, because that's what you're supposed to do, right?" Yeah. No. If they want me to play, I'm just saying that I'm trying to set him up to say the right thing, whether he means it or not.
Right. I got you.
And he said, "I'm gonna talk to them about that."
It's an interesting nugget.
I'm just saying because I tried to give him words to say because I was not trying to cause a problem, and he said, "No, I'm gonna talk to him about that."
I mean, he's watching his money get passed around.
Right.
He's saying,
he's in a contract.
I ain't come this far to come this far.
Right. That's all I'm saying. But and a couple other things, Tyler Booker, immediate starter. And we're not playing them games. We're not doing them pretenses about you got to earn it and competition and all the other stuff. And Brock Hoffman wasn't on the field. Just want to let y'all know. The ankle biter. What you call him?
The wee grabber.
Yeah.
I don't think you've hated a player more than you hate Brock Hoffman.
I don't hate him. I'd hate the narratives of because he's nasty, he's good. No. I just hate that I hate that narrative.
He played fine last year.
And they replaced him.
Yes.
It's like
with a first round pick.
I'm trying to replace you, right? Yeah. It wasn't good enough.
That was hilarious that Keyshawn's like, "Oh yeah, I did play with him."
Yeah. It wasn't good enough. But so he was with the first team. And what other tidbit? Micah Parsons wasn't there. And some dude in the chat, I was going to fight you because he said Micah got paid. And I started getting on my
I
phone,
know.
and I said, "What I'm missing?" I ain't getting on. So some dude in the chat was telling Micah got paid, Lucio or something like that, because they started talking about him in the chat. Like, don't do that, man. But Micah was not there. He was there Monday. He was not there Tuesday. Again, Micah's trying to do the right thing. You know.
They did. The chat went after him.
Yeah,
he was down the street working out with Myles Garrett.
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. But he wasn't there.
Right.
You know, we talked about that. I'm not chancing my money on field drills.
Land the plane.
I'm not finna lose $40 million.
I'm with
getting
you.
hurt.
I raised my hand for it.
Land that plane.
Yeah. Yep. All right, man. All right, that's the show for us today. I think we get Jeff back tomorrow.
I think so.
Maybe not. Well, if not,
Jet lag.
I'll be here. We'll be here. We'll be putting on the show. And like Jeff said, be kind to everyone because you never know what it's going through. And like I said, eliminate the contingencies.
Jersey in the face.
We all silly like the mayor.